Lisa Barlow, really? Really, Lisa? I feel like we really got to see the insecurity in this episode. And Heather, I'm about tired of you. Like, for real.
Welcome to the Asia Esterak Hour, where film meets conspiracy and pop culture gets a reality check. From sharp recaps to sci-fi theories and media deep dives, Asia Esterak serves it unfiltered. Let the binge begin.
Okay, welcome back to the Asia Esterak Hour. I'm Asia Esterak. This review is late. My apologies. I'm not in my normal setup. I'm actually in LA right now for a funeral, my uncle's funeral. But I'm going to try to do this review for y'all anyway. All right, let's get to it. So, The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, the Salt Wives, season 6, episode 2. So we're still at the RV spot. The ladies are recovering from their Blair Witch night the night before. Um, Brief little scene. They wake up. They have breakfast. We see that Bronwyn cannot cook. Her flipping them steaks on that little grill was tragic. It was a little tragic. But in this scene, it was interesting because Heather, they're all sitting around eating their breakfast, and Heather was talking about, being an empty nester, and she kind of misses that her daughters are gone. One of the daughters was visiting for the weekend, and then Bronwyn chimes in and talks about her daughter. She's like, "Well, I didn't want my daughter to leave, so I actually moved in her boyfriend to our house," which is crazy. But okay, girl, do you? Um, Interesting scene. The reason I'm mentioning that is because it gets brought up later. Because Heather, I don't know about you. You used to be one of my favorites, but your movement the past few seasons, I just don't know about you, honey. And including your whole situation on the Ultimate Housewives Girls Trip season 3. If y'all haven't seen that, please watch it. Please watch it. Anyway, so they leave. We go back to Salt Lake, back to normal. Um, Heather sits down with Lisa Barlow. They start kikiing about the RV trip. Heather brings back all the bones, talks about Bronwyn bringing up her lawsuits. Lisa, did anybody defend me besides you? Did Meredith? And Heather, well, Meredith was Meredith. Meredith did defend her at one point, but then didn't in another. Again, I understand we have to be loyal with our friends and all that, but some of these women on these shows, I'm so blown away by. They get so upset if someone doesn't defend them in a room when they're not there. I would want somebody to defend me too, but Lisa Barlow is you. You're not a very nice person. And this episode confirms so many things about you for me personally. Like, wow, girl. But okay. So of course she's getting upset. Um, as soon as you mention lawsuits, she gets really upset. So Heather lightly pries and like, well, is any of this true? Well, one of those wasn't true, done, and the other one's about to get get dismissed, done. Lisa. Um, Lisa, you don't pay your bills. That's what it's sounding like. And the whole thing, so it's funny, she goes off on Bronwyn and then actually starts crying because she's upset because she's mad because Bronwyn is now fighting fire with fire. You came for Bronwyn, baby. You came for her last season. You came for her personally. You came for her marriage. And then you're one of these people where you can never tell them shit because they'll remember everything that you ever told them and then throw it in your face later to capitalize on that information. I hate a bitch like that. That's you, Lisa Barlow. And now you're mad because she's fighting fire with fire. Maybe you shouldn't have came for her and her husband. Maybe that, The reality is you're a single serving friend. You're single serving. I called Tamara in the OC last week single serving. No, Lisa Barlow, you're single serving. And not a very good serving at that. So Lisa, is crying. She's upset. And it was interesting because Heather was like, it's okay. It's okay to be upset by a former friend of yours, hurting your feelings. Um, it's funny because Lisa does this thing. Well, I'm just really busy. I have real business. I live very different lives than the rest of you. You're right, because the rest of us pay our bills. You are absolutely right about that. You definitely live different lives than the rest of us, the rest of them, the rest of everybody. Um, Heather does tell her that Angie referred to her as Jen Shaw Which Angie, again, I said this in my last review, that wasn't very nice. Lisa Barlow ain't shit, but that's not true. She hasn't done any criminal activity. Well, I guess when you don't pay your bills, that's technically criminal, right? Because that's a violation of a contract. But she wasn't scamming anybody like Jen Shaw. That was a bit much, but whatever, Lisa, you're an asshole. It's par for the course. You poked the bear, and the bears are now swatting back at you. So what's good? What's good at this point, lady? What's good? Anyway, but here's why I mentioned Heather at the beginning, my little cold open. Heather, why do you want to be friends with her so bad? You just they're greeting each other at the restaurant was very tacky, very, oh my god, you look so great. I miss you. This is the same bitch that called you a good time girl, which in your world is a really bad thing. Never apologized for it. Said it on camera, even insinuated you doing that. Like, and now you're over here kikiing with her and she's crying to you. You know what's funny? Lisa Barlow, this is your season. I'll say it and I'll say it again in every review. Welcome to reality television. Everybody has a turn, darling. And this season seems to be your turn. And the reality is you came for your two friends and were nasty to them. And now they're coming back for you. It's crazy. I will say this though, Angie, you could have kept this same energy towards Lisa. You could have kept that shit for Jen. Because remember when Jen poured the water on your head? Jen Shaw would have been picking her teeth up off the floor if she had poured anything on me. Anything. I don't understand Heather sometime in her angles with any of this, any of the stuff that she does. But again, you guys kissed Jen Shaw's ass and now you're kissing Lisa Barlow's ass. It doesn't make any sense. Are we that desperate for friends? Like for real, are we that desperate for friends? Anyway, so Bronwyn meets up with Whitney. Whitney's hair color is growing on me. And it's funny because I'm always like this with Whitney, and I think I do. I think I judge her a little bit because she sounds like a little girl to me when she speaks. But Whitney be speaking facts. She speaks facts sometimes, so I'll give her that. So anyway, and I love her transparency with her whole business thing because the reality is that's a lot of people's reality. So I think there's a lot of people that can relate to what she's going through right now. I mean, I had a whole business, lost everything, and had to start over as well. That's how I ended up in the state of Maryland. So I totally get it. It took me a good 7 years to rebuild myself. So I respect her for being transparent about her situation. I love that. Okay, so her and Bronwyn meet up. They were doing something in the snow. I can't remember. But this conversation, they're talking about Lisa Barlow, the whole lawsuit thing, Heather. And what's interesting, so Lisa Barlow in one of her lawsuits specifically mentioned to one of her debtors that's suing her not to mention the debt to her husband. That's in the lawsuit. And they, messy ass Bravo, of course, they zoom in and pull out that aspect of the lawsuit. I'm curious, how is she going to talk her way out of that? And see, we've all been hearing for a few seasons now that Lisa has a benefactor who she does extra benefits for to get the benefits. I wonder if this is the dude. I don't know. It's not good. But Bronwyn's position is you've been saying stuff about my marriage, my finances, so now I can't inquire. And they talked about that in the first episode. Mary mentioned it. A bunch of people mentioned it. My thing is, Lisa, you've been talking shit this whole time. So now the chickens have come home to roost, and now it's your turn, and you can't handle it. And especially in that last scene. So here's the whole thing. One of Utah's socialites is having a big party at the end of the episode, which is where they all go, and of course all the bullshit kicks off. Um, but this scene was a messy scene, but it was still funny. Uh, but it's just interesting because Lisa Barlow really thinks that she's exempt of being spoken about. That's the crazy shit. You really think that you can do what you do and no one can say shit about you. It was funny. She told on herself in that scene with Heather because Bronwyn mentioned two. Bronwyn mentioned two lawsuits. Lisa mentioned 5 lawsuits. 5. So Bronwyn and Heather meet real quick. This was an interesting scene. I'm not going to dwell on this scene long. I just want to say this. Um Heather, you don't like Bronwyn, and I wish you would stop trying to pretend like you do. You don't like her. You took issue with what she said earlier in the episode when you were still at the RV park, insinuating that you felt like she was making a dig at you being happy to get rid of your daughter's, like, going off to college, and her daughter wanting to stay, her keeping her daughter at the house. It just seems like you pick up there's an issue. You always have an issue with her. You don't like her. So why you keep trying to be cool with her? And then you did. It's funny when you were over there kikiing with Lisa Barlow. You conveniently mentioned that you and Bronwyn had briefly squashed whatever you had, only for it to get reignited again the next day. Girl, Heather, girl, good night, Heather. Go to sleep. Go to sleep, girl. Um, Bronwyn, of course, in this scene was very apologetic, and she was like, "I wasn't insinuating that you weren't a good parent. I was insinuating that I wasn't that great of a parent because I still wanted to keep her. I went so far as to move my daughter's boyfriend into our home to keep her in the home." It's funny how it's just Heather. Here's what I get. Let me know in the comments. This is just my theory. This is what I'm gathering from all of this. Heather, you're jealous of Bronwyn. Lisa, jealous of Bronwyn. Y'all don't like her because here's the reality. Yes, she got her husband is older than her. She has a rich Todd, and y'all don't. Heather, you're divorced, but you're making it happen with your beauty lab. And Lisa, you over here borrowing money from other people, and you went in so far as to put it in the lawsuit, not to tell your husband about the money that you borrowed from said person. And I forgot to mention this. She uses the dude's Amex card, which was also mentioned in the lawsuit. How you gonna talk your way out of that? So it's just funny that they keep coming at Bronwyn. She's defending herself, and it's an issue. And what's funny, she defends herself very well. I don't know. They squashed their issue yet again, but Bronwyn, please stop trying to be friends with this girl. This girl doesn't want to be your friend. At this point, it's camera time because there was no reason for you two to meet up and have another sit down just for it to be the same shit in the next episode. Because I didn't even watch the previews for next week, but I guarantee you, Heather's still gonna have an issue with Bronwyn about something. Something. I bet you if Lisa Barlow and Bronwyn became cool again, Heather would eventually like her. Heather, you're a follower. Girl, you need to grow up. You need to get out of high school. You are mentally stuck there, and it's really weird. Lisa Barlow, you're stuck there too, but I don't think it's for reasons like that. I think you're deeply insecure and had a weird upbringing. That's just the vibe that I get off of you. Anyway, the scene before that, we see Mary and her son. This scene was a good scene. Robert Jr. seemed in a better place, but this is what I love. Mary is not sugarcoating nothing. She's like, he's still struggling and he's still going to struggle. She talks about what happened after last year when they had that chat. His dad came down, and they know that it's going to be a long road. I really appreciate her and her son sharing their story and their journey to the world because people need to see this shit. Like low key, so I'm here in California for my uncle's funeral. I'm born and raised in Los Angeles, California. I haven't been back to LA in 7 years since I left. Um, so I'm back and I'm here in downtown Long Beach. My dad's side of the family, they're all from Long Beach, San Pedro, Pacific Palisades. I've never seen so many homeless young people who are strung out walking around. What the fuck is wrong with y'all? And miss me with the mental health shit. This is ridiculous. I'm seeing able bodied folks setting up shop on sides of the roads, high as a kite, the meth, the all that. It's insane. And what's alarming is they're all young. I'm 44. Everybody look younger than me. It's crazy. So for Mary to and her son to get on national TV to talk about his drug problem, I appreciate it. And the vibe that I get from that and this, it's a lot of it's too much free time. It's a lot of entitlement. The privilege of and I know I'm gonna piss some people off when I say this, but it's almost like you have too much free time. It's almost a privilege to be a fucking strung out drug addict walking around just bullshitting. I'm blown away. I got here in the middle of the day yesterday. It's the middle of the week. It's a work week. Why are y'all not at work? We out here begging at 1 p.m. high as a kite. Like that's a problem. And their people are young. Like what's going on? Anyway, I'm not gonna make this a shit on Gen Z or Gen X or whoever, millennial, whatever. But it's It's disappointing. So to see Mary have these types of conversations with her son on national television is important because I saw a lot of people who I think were in his age group walking around here strung out, and it's terrible. Like it's actually terrible. This was a good scene. You know, he admitted that he's still, working on trying to get clean, and it's a long hill battle, but he said the realest shit. He said there's not as much darkness. He seemed lighter, he seemed happier, but he said it's still there, it's lingering. That was so important. That right there, Robert Jr., and to anybody struggling, that's where the work comes in. That's where you have to use the tools that you've learned how to deal with your addiction to get through that dark. I used to work at a drug rehabilitation center in my early 20s while I was going to film school, and I learned a lot about drugs, sexuality, and human behavior. And that's the one thing I learned working there. It's about getting through those rough times. That's where the work comes in. Robert Jr., my heart goes out to you and your family, and I'm rooting for you, bruh. I think you're gonna be okay. I think you're gonna have a lot to go through. I know that he's been through a few more legal things in the news, so he's definitely going to go through. It's gonna get a lot worse before it gets better. He still has to fully go through the storm, and I don't think he's fully through it yet. And I think with addiction, you never get fully through the storm. It's just how you learn how to weather it and deal with it. Anyway, I appreciate them sharing that for all of us, for real. Okay, so let's get to this party, y'all. So they get to this socialites party in Salt Lake City, and of course Lisa Barlow is the last to arrive. You listen. If Lisa did this and this one more time, homegirl was nervous. She was nervous to go in there because she was walking into the Lions Den because she knew everybody was talking about her. So she comes in, they're all like, "Oh my god." She's talking to Meredith, and Meredith's like, "I think you need to talk to the other ladies because it was not good what they said." Brittany and her annoying ass comes up. Did you guys catch the way Lisa Barlow hugged Brittany? I was like, it was so fakey. Lisa Barlow cannot emote to another human being. It's fascinating. Fascinating. And she can't conceptualize people throwing mud back at her either, which is also fascinating. That's a sign of somebody with low intelligence and low emotional intelligence. You got low EQ and IQ, girl. Um, so they mentioned Angie. So it's funny. So the girls are all over at the other table. They're like, Angie, they talking about you, girl. They're talking about you. And they mentioned Bronwyn as well. So she comes over to Angie. We need to talk. And Angie's like, yeah, we do. And she's like, is there anything you want to tell me? And Angie's like, well, what did you hear? Because Angie already knew. She already knew. So she says that it was a joke. They kind of are going back and forth. Bronwyn jumps in because she knows the real tea is you're not even mad at Angie. You're mad at Bronwyn because Bronwyn is spraying you with fact. She's not using hyperbole. She's not using emotion. She's spraying your ass with pure fact, and you can't handle it. Like she said, it's in the Tribune, it's in the paper, it's everywhere. Heather talking about, I didn't hear anything about it. Okay, girl. Okay. Um, so Bronwyn comes over and chimes in. Lisa's like, you're dismissed. I'm not talking to you. Well, she's like, you're talking about her to me because you're mad at me. Talk to me. Well, I don't like you. Okay. And so they're going back and forth. And she's like, you know what? You're just a dick sucker, a gout dick sucker, a gout dick sucker. Can you get gout on your dick? Is that a thing? I don't think that's a thing. That was funny in Whitney's confessional. She's like, I thought that was associated with feet. It's probably, I believe it's associated with more than just your feet, but I guess that was Lisa Barlow's way of taking a dig at Todd's age. Girl, look at your face. Who did your makeup in the confessionals? Cause that braid thing with the heavy eye, girl, I know you're not talking about somebody's age. Looking a mess. You need to stop. She reminded me of that Simpsons episode where they were joking about people in 4D with all the wrinkles. That's what she reminded me of. You need to stop. You're the last person to be talking about anybody's looks or age. But okay. They're continuing to bicker, and she's calling Bronwyn everything in the book. Bronwyn's like, okay, so I'm a dick sucker. I'm married to my husband. I can suck my husband's dick. Well, yeah, didn't you say you do that when he pays an Amex card? Yeah, it's his card. Like these are your comebacks, Lisa. So Bronwyn's just laughing. To me, Bronwyn ate her up in this scene because she was just like, I'm married. I'm sucking my husband's dick. Like, what's the problem? The problem is you're mad because you're accused of sucking somebody else's dick, and now they're in the lawsuit. And then Bronwyn was like, and you didn't want your husband to know about it. And Lisa's just, her face gets to moving and the ticking and the eyes and the blinking and the hair and the touching. Girl, you need to stop. Stop. So it kind of ends off there. I know we're gonna pick right back up there, but that was the second episode. This season is great so far. Please don't fall off like Miami did, Salt Lake City. I've missed 2 episodes of Miami because I just couldn't review it. The shit was trash. Salt Lake City, please don't do that. Don't do that to us. And Lisa Barlow, gout dick, really, Lisa? Shut up. Anyway, what's today? Thursday. Happy Thursday, you guys. Stay nice, be hydrated, and I'm gonna go return these videotapes. Thanks for watching.